What's going on, people? It's Mr. back again with a preview show, end of season talk, and I've got the three amigos with me this time. I've got Stephen. How you doing?
How you doing? All
Not
good.
too bad. I've got Dylan. How you doing?
Good. You?
I'm not too bad. And I've got, last but not least, late comer. He's always late on the show. I've got Des. How you doing?
I'm all right. I was rushing to get here, as you said.
All right, but yeah, this is the last preview show, review show from the season, and I thought we get all the boys. We talk about the season, talk about what should happen. But yeah, people, if you've got any questions to ask any of us three about Forest, put the comments below. If you're new to the channel, please do hit the subscribe button as well. So boys, it's been a hard, long season, and I don't know where to start. Let me start with you, Des. From start to finish, what do you think about Forest season?
Boring. It just never got going, did it? You know, it started in the worst possible fashion when Hughton came in and we got that win at Blackburn. You know, we was probably thinking, this is it now. We're going to start pushing up the table. And it just kind of, when we did get on a little bit of a roll, it was always a bit of a false dawn, wasn't it? We've just not been good enough. Players we signed was promising. You know, we was all excited by the signings. They never settled in. You know, I think the change of manager so early. I wanted Lamucci to stay, but having given him the start of the season and the signings he possibly wanted, I just felt that nobody was ever comfortable. It just felt like there was never any cohesion, and it's just when we strung 2 or 3 results together, we never turned it into 6 or 7, and it just meant we was just we were safe for a long time, weren't we? I think we said first time I came on in January, I said I think we finished 15th. I'm not sure where we finished, but
was it 16th? We finished
17th.
17th. Well, we've been safe for such a long time now, and I think people have been on holiday for the last few weeks as well. So it's boring.
Stephen, like Denson mentioned about the players that Lamucci brought in, 14 players. Do you think that there was too much players that were brought in?
Yeah, it was quite desperate, wasn't it? It seemed like it just they went for quantity instead of quality, really. You know, we signed some cracking players. Like, we go back to Harry Arthur, you know, we signed him and I thought, that's our midfield sorted. But they just never gelled. That first game where Lamucci threw in like 9 new signings and he's Huddersfield away. Nothing happened. Nothing improved. I think it was way too many. I think it was just a case of Lamucci. I don't know, a lot. It goes back to how many were Lamucci signings. I just heard that Taylor was one of them. And were the others, even his signings, did he scout them himself? Were they just literally names thrown at him and he's like, yeah, okay, I'll just chuck them in the squad? Like, we've plucked a few good players. Like, McKenna was a cracking signing, probably the best signing for years. But yeah, the other ones were quite bad. Beginning of the season, like a few loan signings, like which we'll probably come on to later, were better. But beginning of the season was shocking. Yeah, really bad.
Dylan, I said 14 players came in, and I said Lamucci brought them in. Do you think it was the right time? Do you think it was Forest were right to sack Lamucci, or should you just left him?
Well, the football was the same, wasn't it? So basically, from last season, everyone seemed to have worked out what Forest wanted to do. I think for 14 players, at the start of the season, I was one of them on your channel saying, yeah, we're going to get promoted and this and that.
I was as well. I was.
Do you know what I mean? Because like you say, the players that they bought in were good players. Majority of them on paper, where we'd see them at other clubs. But looking back now, I think 14 was way too much. Way too much.
I think, like on social media, like when we signed Harry Arthur, everyone wanted Jack Colback to come in. You mentioned McKenna and more blow players, and people like Harry Arthur not even had a chance. Colback, not had a chance. And do you think that was a downfall with Lemuche? I think. Des, do you think Lemuche was like he should have stayed on longer or not?
Like I touched on before, I think he should have probably, having started the season, and I was all for him staying. I felt that like they gave him the players too late. You know, the rut had set in, hadn't it? You know, and they possibly needed that change, but if they were going to do it, they should have done it in the mid-season break, before the season started. To then sack him 5 games in, I just think having given him all those players, you know, at 14, you know, and some of them was obviously players he'd identified in the past, Arter, McKenna, players like that, would have been players he'd identified from sort of playing or been rumoured with us before. So it was all going wrong, and it was all going wrong fast, wasn't it? So I can understand the change almost, but I think it should have been at the start of the season. Having given the start of the season, I'd have probably given 10, 13 games, you know, and because it didn't dramatically improve when he left. And as Dylan said, the football was just about the same.
Yeah, it was. So Lemuche gets sacked. Chris Hughton comes in. I don't know if you lot might agree. People in the comments will agree as well. I was so happy when Chris Hughton come in. I thought he would lift the team. Like the players that he brought in as well. I think he brought Knockaert as well. But let me ask you a question to everyone as well. Do you was you excited for Chris Hughton to come in, Stephen?
Well, out of the shortlist that were given, I think it was him, Allardyce, and Eddie Howe.
Yeah,
I think it's what you wanted, really. I think they went with the safe option of Hughton with his track record. You know, the glamour one would have been Eddie Howe. I think he would have got us playing, you know, pretty football. Sam Allardyce would have done a job to a point, but his football would have been no different. Really, we wouldn't have expected any glamorous football with him. But I think Hughton, when we had him, the Twitter blew up, and all the Brighton Newcastle fans were saying, you know, see you in the Premier League in 2 years' time. I've only just saw a recent tweet as well, a Brighton supporter put on the Forest timeline saying, Forest fans, don't be too disheartened, because he put down where they were when he took over and where they ended up. So in his first season with Brighton, I think they ended up like 20th. So basically what they tell Forest fans is they just stick with him. And like we keep on going back to, he's got a massive summer in front of him. It's probably his biggest summer as a manager in any club to sort out. You know, it's a big project for him. But when we signed him, yeah, I was landed. I thought that's a brilliant coup that is for the club.
Dylan, I said when Hughton come in, I said everyone's excited to come in, and from the whole season, and this is anyone can answer this as well. Are you disappointed the way Chris Hughton has dealt with him? Like I said, I think 4-5 games in, Lemuche gets sacked, Hughton comes in, and everyone thought, yes, he's going to get promoted. Do you think he could have done better on how the season's planned out?
It's hard to say, because at the start when he got appointed, my thinking as well as everyone else is Chris Hughton, he's got the pedigree, he'll do this, he'll do that. As the season's gone on, we've seen he's not changed anything dramatically. He's just tried to make Forest a hard team to beat. Looking back on it now, you can see what he's done. He got them signings he made in January, Gardner, Kravinovic, yeah, all right. Murray, and signing Knockaert again. I think looking at that transfer window in January in such a short space of time, what he managed to do with helping the team, yeah, all right, we wasn't playing the best football, but come the end of January, we could kind of see the defence was getting solid. Do you know what I mean? Because we never got spanked. Apart from,
exactly, that's the point. We never got spanked.
No, we like only the game against Swansea, but he just played anybody. He just played all the players that weren't playing. Do you know what I mean? But looking back on it now, what he's done is he made us a very hard team to beat, and he knew after January, because after January he needed a goal scorer, he needed probably a couple more creative players. He only had what he had to work with at the time. So he got us safe.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I think give him this chance for a window, wheeling and dealing, what he can do, the connections he's got, the players he's going to get. He'll probably sign some players that a few Forest fans will go, oh, why we got him? Why are we signing him? Do you know what I mean? But it's compared to what we've had this season, with the likes of Harry Arter, you've got the likes of Christie and people like that, and Knockaert. When we all got him, we was like, yeah, we're gonna fire up this league. We are. It don't work out that way. So I think with him making us a hard team to beat, the back four and the goalkeeper, that was the main strength. That's what saved us.
Des, from the whole season, I'll give you two. Like, what player disappoints you this season?
Well, I could give you 12.
Give us 12 then. Give us 12. People as well in the comments, who do you think disappointed this season?
Well, I just, you look back to those early season signings. Harry Arter was the one who's really, everybody was quite excited about that one. The type of player Forest needed for a long, long time. Someone who we thought would play on the front foot, would drive the midfield forward, you know, perhaps play more of a, not a number 10 role, but just somebody to play off the front foot in midfield rather than the Ben Watsons and Jack Colback who've done well over the last couple of years. You know, so he was a real disappointment for me as well. Knockaert, you know, because it's interesting something Dylan said there. Hughton definitely made us strong, but I think he possibly brought those players in to have a bit of a go at it, and they just at times they're flattered to deceive. The biggest thing he's done is made the defence strong. Like Dylan said, at the end of January, it didn't look like anybody was going to score against us. The problem was it didn't look like we was going to score either. You know, so
yeah, that's a problem. Yeah.
So those players, and of course, like Christie, he was disappointing. He picked up a little bit at the end, you know, and some of the signings didn't even play, did they? You know, Iono or whatever his name is, and it looked okay, you know, but and you look at players like that and you just think, why?
Yeah. Stephen, what players disappoint you this season?
Harry Arter by far, I think. What the pedigree he came with and his CV and the way, like Des said about the way he plays, I thought that was our midfield, you know, going forward. I honestly thought, you know, I was really excited with that signing. He's disappointed me. I'm trying to think who else. It's like Des just said, there's players we haven't, like Diallo, why do we sign him? That Bacheru, he played like 2 games.
Yeah.
Embasau, I think there's a player in him. I think hopefully he gets a crack next year. I hope he does. I'm trying to think who else. I think, right, I'm going to throw a name out there, but Taylor, right? But again, with Taylor, he's frustrated us that he went on a bit of a run, but then he just didn't get a chance. So I don't think it's fair.
He's never had a chance. That's the thing.
No, so it's a bit of, but I think for the games he's played, I think he's just been frustrated. Like he spends a lot of time with his arms in the air and he's thrown himself on the floor and he's only getting 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. So I think maybe hopefully next season he gets a better run in the team. So maybe Taylor, maybe a little bit has disappointed me. But I'd keep him anyway, Taylor, just for his
what about you, Dylan?
Character alone.
What about you, Dylan?
Who disappointed me?
Yeah.
I would say I was a bit disappointed. I've just mentioned him as probably a good signing, but Knockaert.
Yeah, Knockaert as well. That he just put me as well.
He seems to have a game where he plays, and he's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. He's on the ball. He's constantly making runs, doing this. But I've noticed he's one of these players that his head drops as soon as he misses something. That's it. He goes missing for 10, 15 minutes, or he'll start a game, and if someone's on him all the time, that's it. He's ready to finish. Do you know what I mean? And a player of his caliber in the Championship, I don't think he's a Premiership player whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? But in the Championship, I think he could be one, if Forest were to sign him, he could be another one to sit for Chris Hughton to turn around to him and say, look, Do you know what I mean? I know what you can do. Calm it down a bit, and get players around him as well as some other players that we've got. Maybe he might.
Do you think
kick on.
but do you think Knockaert's the man for next season? That's the problem. Because
I'm not saying
come on.
No, I'm not saying he's the man, but he's one of these players that when he's on his day, he had a couple of them. He didn't have many, but he had a couple. When he was on his game, he was too hot to handle for.
What game was that? Come on, what game was that?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I remember one.
Right, Des.
Derby game.
Derby game. He played well against Derby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when he came on against, who did we draw against the other week? Birmingham? No, who did we draw against the other week at home? 1-1. Grabban scored. Birmingham.
Was it?
Stoke.
I think.
No, when he came on that game, he changed the game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he did. But I just don't think Knockaert's the man. I don't think. Like I said, would you really pay? Would you pay 10? Like I think Fulham paid 10 million for him, didn't they? Like, would you pay 10 million for him? Like Dylan?
No, I wouldn't.
I think the gamble with Knockaert is, yeah.
No, I think Knockaert only had half a game at him at best. I think for one half, whenever he was a sub or he played, he'd have a first half and then get subbed after 60 minutes, or he'd come on and do well, particularly when he signed. I just think the way he plays, he's all action, isn't he? Like when he has got the ball, he's taking everyone on, and I just think his legs are probably going, and that's why he's ended up playing much of a season at the bottom of the Championship. Do you know? Again, we're really exciting to think somebody he killed us every time he plays us. It seems one of them type of players.
I was just looking at a comment. If you remember Abdul, he was a Greek guy from Olympiakos, and even he's better than Knockaert. Can you remember him, Dylan?
Yeah.
I just don't think he's. I won't pay 10 million for him.
No, never.
Like if we I don't know. I'll talk about Joe Wall later. If we sell one player and then paying 10 million for Knockaert, I won't do it. My
worry with Knockaert though. My worry with Knockaert is if he goes back to Fulham on another Championship side next year, you can just see it happening. He's going to rip the league apart next year.
Stephen, everyone does it.
You can just see it happening. Yeah, and we'd be here this time next year going, where was that?
But everyone
you can see it happening. Yeah.
It's like, you know when, I think when like Sheffield United got relegated, I pay any money, people like Ben Osborne, David McGoldrick, he didn't do nothing at Forest. He'll rip Forest apart. And Oliver Burke, these type of players come back to City next season. They're gonna rip apart Forest. And I remember everyone
why will there? We'll be a better team.
Yeah, but look at like everyone used to like slander Ben Osborne. Everyone used to slander Ben Osborne. I'm watching him play fantastic against Forest, but that's a different show. So the season's finished. I'll start with you, Des. Like, what players like has been your player of the season so far? What was your player of the season?
I think the obvious one is Joe Warren, isn't it? You know, even before his performance, just in being in the team makes a world of difference. You know, just whether he's playing particularly well or not, just in being there, he's a leader. We've all said at some point he should be the captain. You know, and it's just a different Forest, isn't it? It's somebody who's going to rally everybody, get a little bit, probably gets another 2, 3, 5% out of those around him. You know, we seen with Figueiredo earlier in the season, didn't we? He was really, really struggling, and I'm a Figueiredo fan. But when Worrell came back, you know, there was a lot more. He was a lot more consistent, and then ultimately he's paired up with McKenna, who we think is our best two. You know, so, and you look at those four and you think, and the goalkeeper behind, and the two centre backs, and you think that's a real solid basis to work off. You know, outside of those sort of players, you know, it's just much of a muchness, isn't it?
Yeah.
You look at Garner. Garner is the one who's impressed in midfield. But other than Amiobi at times, you know, I like Amiobi. Flashes of brilliance, and another one of those players. If he does go on a free, he'll absolutely kill us when he comes back. You know,
Yeah.
but outside that, you know, I like Taylor, but again, he's been disappointing. Like,
oh, Des, he's not had a chance. He's not had a chance, no, Des. Come on.
well, I'm a massive fan, Ben. I've praised him and I've said he should have more of a chance, but he's been disappointing, hasn't he, when he has been there, you know? And,
yeah.
And I just can't see outside those back players, McKenna, Worrell, Samba, you know, and the two reserves obviously look like this set, you know, and then other than that, you know, Ribeiro, he was brilliant the season before last. And of course they've messed him about a little bit, and his attitude's not quite the same. And you think it's hard to see any positives from an attacking point of view, apart from the guy who's probably going to go back to Man U and be a star.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? If you talk about Ribeiro, I heard a story today because, like I said, how many players are out of contract? In about
16.
7 players? 16 players out of contract. Bloody hell.
there's 16 due to leave.
Yeah, but I heard a
rumor.
I heard a rumor. I think it was on what's that website called? Oh, I forgot the website now. Ribeiro might be the only one might be getting a new contract. So
that's surprising.
That is surprising, isn't it? It's weird, but what, like, the other players, Steve, that's you, Stephen. What players would you give contract? That like, do they deserve a contract? That's the main point.
Are you talking about players leaving on the free, not loans?
Yeah. On the free. We'll mention loan players later.
Yeah, okay. I would give Amiobi 1 more year. I think he's just a good squad player. I think, like Des just said, he's like another Knockaert. You just know I think he's a bit more frustrating than Knockaert, though. I think Knockaert is a better player. But you just can see next season he'll go to another championship team and he'll just rip us apart. You know what? I wouldn't even give Ribeiro another contract. I think he's just been poor. No. Did you see the goal against Preston? He let the ball go over his head. He's been done now on the back post for how many goals this season. If you watch, we all blame Christie and Figueiredo, but if you see the amount of goals Ribeiro's given away, back stick, it's quite a few. I wouldn't give him another contract. I would look for another left back myself. Because Bong's going. I did like Ribeiro last season, but his form was just gone. I wouldn't give him another contract.
What about you, Dylan? What about you, Dylan?
Who I'd give another contract to would be probably at a Porsche. Probably like you say, Amiobi.
Bloody hell, everyone loves Amiobi. Bloody hell, Lennon would be happy with you lot if you know who Lennon is. He loves Amiobi, but yeah, just Amiobi then for you.
Yeah, probably because like you say, he's not going to play every game. He's a bit injury prone and that. I'd use him as on the bench. Yeah, back up on the bench. Last 20, 25 minutes to go. Got to get something out of the game. Got to get some bit more whipping. Someone with a bit of speed.
He carries us up the pitch.
Yeah, depending on what type of players we bring in. We could end up bringing 2, 3 players that do that already, and we just think we don't need Amiobi. So probably on this moment in time, Amiobi, I'd probably get 1 more year.
What about you, Des?
Yeah, again, like the guys, Amiobi, because this season, the only time we've looked like scoring is like a flash of brilliance, and that's essentially what Amiobi is, isn't it? He's a bit unpredictable. He don't know what he's doing himself half the time. So and we've had to sort of pick on the scraps, and that's why I probably think. And the fact he was free, you know, he's been a good free signing. You know, considering we didn't rate him when he come, we didn't know what we was getting. You know, and then when he did come, O'Neill got the sack, and we thought,
Yeah.
Get a game as well. So, and I think some of those games, like the Leeds game last season, you know, and he hits one across the near post rather than far post, but it goes in. So I think on the basis of that, when he plays, he's a threat. You know, I don't think Hughton is keen on any of the wingers, any of them at all. You know, and it's historically been a bad position for Forest. I think he'll be looking for wingers. You know, but other than that, I can't see why we'd keep anybody. You know,
I know that's a thing.
Other than those guys I mentioned before, Taylor, I want Taylor to stay. I want Taylor to have a fair crack because I'd rather them just sort of shake hands with Grabban and say it's best we move on. You know, that kind of thing. You know?
Grabban's going nowhere. Trust me. No, I'm being serious. I'm being serious now. Unless a big money offer comes in for him, he is not going anywhere.
This has come from Astral News. He knows everything. He knows everything.
I don't know everything, but no, Grabban is going nowhere. Hughton likes him.
Not for me. Not for me. People in the comments, would you want Grabban to stay? Yes or no? He's had.
Not would he? He's staying. It's not if. Would you like him to stay?
Is it 3 seasons now? He's been here for 3 seasons.
He's got one more year.
He had his good season the other season under the Mooch. Not. But for me, 6 goals, not good enough.
Yes. Yeah, but
he's our top scorer.
Yeah. Yeah, but at the end of the day,
6 goals. Come on.
At the end of the day, he hasn't had the service. He hasn't. I don't think. Me personally, don't think he can play in the role he used to play. You know, like in the box, doing it that way. I think the way Hughton's thinking about him now is playing him because he's getting older. He's playing him like he did on Saturday in a number 10 role. Because, and I think they'll get a younger lad, someone younger, maybe Taylor, or someone a bit younger from a lower league to play in front of him because of his experience. Because I noticed at half time on the game on Saturday, just before they started, he was stood there on the side talking with Murray, and Murray was he was asking his advice. Murray was you could see he was pointing to him, telling him, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? All right, he's about 30. Was he 33?
Yeah, 34,
Murray?
No.
Grabban.
33. I think I saw he's 33. Yeah.
But this is where I thought to myself, I thought, well, they're playing him in a number 10 role. And Newton said after the game, it's his type of game that he thinks he can play there. So that's why I think he's going to stay. And I know Hughton really likes him. So put him in the number 10 role with a younger, more fresher legged striker in front of him. Maybe that might be Taylor. You don't know.
It's interesting that Dylan says younger there, because I just had a thought in my head. I tallied up the 3 strikers. The age of the 3 strikers combined is 100.
Yeah, because how old is Taylor? Taylor's about 31, isn't he?
31, Taylor. Yeah.
It's his last contract, isn't it?
Bloody hell.
Big move, wasn't it?
Yeah, big one. So we're talking about loan players, and I know there's a few players out of contract, like Christie's out of contract. Garner's going back to Man U. Knockaert's going back to Fulham. Who else? Kurinovic I think he's gone back to Benfica now. But the main question everyone's talking about is Christie. Like, would you any of you lot give Christie a contract with his age as well?
How old is that?
And Christie, I don't know, he's about 28.
Late. Either 29 or 30, I think Christie is.
Oh, I'll tell you in a minute.
But would you give a contract? Look, I'm going to ask you, Steve. Steve, would you give him a contract? Yes or no?
I mentioned this in our old video. What we could ask yourself is there a better right back, either at the club or somewhere else than what Christie gives us? Because Christie did get better as each game went on. I think he took a liking to the club because his Instagram post and a few things he did, I think he did a few charity stuff, I think. I think, that's what you've got to ask yourself. We'll look at it. Is there a better right back at our club being one of the youngsters? Or can he get someone better?
We've got Jordan Gabriel, we've got Richardson.
Yeah.
Jenkins, he's
Jenkins is gone.
He's gone.
He's gone.
Me personally, I would sign Christie.
Can I just tell you, Christie is 28.
Bloody hell. From
20
Astral News.
20. No, I'm looking on Google now. 29 on the 30th of September. And Ben, and this will make us feel old. He was born in 92.
Bloody hell. I'm getting too old now. I'm 21, people. Just get that out there.
What stone?
It's that bad. That's what you call it. But yeah, Des, would you keep Christie for next season, or would you bring players like Gabriel, Richardson?
I wouldn't keep him. I agree with Stephen what he says about. I've kind of warmed to him a lot. His performance has massively improved, and you look at the fact that Knockaert, when he played, didn't really help him out. And I think Hughton was frustrated when he played Myton for not helping out as well. Probably a bit of inexperience there, but I just think he wasn't good enough. If you look at the season as a whole, and probably the money and the considerations they're probably looking at with that, I just don't think he was good enough. The performance has picked up. He did that. He does good stuff. That post as well. Yeah. I read that and thought, I like the guy, and that was a nice thing to do. But I just think it's easy in hindsight as well, isn't it, to say he's had a couple of good games at the end of the season, and there's a couple of promising youngsters there. Is Hughton going to go that way? I'm not so sure.
That's a problem. Like I think I said that on my show all the time. Like he doesn't really bring young players in. Yes, he's brought Myton in, but who I don't think he'll like I mentioned. We'll talk about the youngsters who's on loan and come back on team, but I just don't think he's not a fan of young players. That's my opinion. But what do you think?
I don't think he is. I think you're right. So, and I think one of the guys made the point earlier. I think we're going to see some signings, and you're going to go like, "Oh my God, what have we signed him for?" Someone like a Djukovic from Birmingham.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily a striker, but somewhere on the pitch, you're going to see one or two players, but he's going to have thought, "I want him. We've got all these loans. We've got all these players out of contract." And he's just going to go and get them, and hopefully, like they do the business quick, and he gets who he wants, because then we can judge him on his own players, can't we? Judge him on his own merits.
So, it's like season's done. We finish. Was it 17th we finish or 18th? One or two.
17th.
I'll go one by one. And Stephen, in your opinion, what does Hughton need to do? What does he need to do to make next season much better?
We got to get a goal scorer in. We got to get a 20. Well, again, they're so hard to sign those strikers. They cost so much money. We got to get the firepower in next season. I think we got, like Dylan said in the beginning, we got the base of a great defence. As long as we can sort the right and left back positions out, because the centre bit is fine, and the goalkeeper. As long as we keep Worrell. But we got to get firepower in. We've got to get We said earlier, we thought a knockout.
By Bannon.
We need to get more pace in the team as well. We can't just rely on Myton, 18-year-old raw green young player, to carry us to the league title next year.
Carvalho?
Or the promotion.
Carvalho.
Carvalho.
I've just read a story on him. Sorry to cut you off a minute. I've just read a story. They reckon the team he's on loan at are on about exercising their purchase to buy.
Take him.
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
Take him.
I've just seen it. Sorry.
I've seen it. Take him. I don't want him back. Simple as that. I don't care if there's any Forest fans saying, I want him back. No, I don't want him, because I spoke to a Mourinho fan before, come on. And he said, not for me. Bring him back to Forest. And no. You take another loan from him, because for me, do you look really think that he's a man that can solve Forest? Come on, let's be real. I don't, but do you lot?
He's not played on
Make it short and sweet. Make it short and sweet. I don't think it is. But Dylan, your face says it all, Dylan.
No, he hasn't. The thing. This is the thing, right? How many times have we seen players at Forest and they've been rubbish? I'll always go back to, you remember Ben Watson when he first came in the January, and who was it? Was it Karanka? Karanka brought him in for the January to get us keepers safe. He didn't play too bad like Colback and people like that. Then the following season, we obviously I think he signed permanent, didn't he, in January? So he played the next season, and everyone slated him, said he was too old, he was this, he was that, always getting it. The following season after, he plays under Lamucci and comes a different player. Do you know what I mean? So this is why I find it a bit odd. Yes, Carvalho hasn't done the business. He hasn't, to me, he's no way been worth the 13 million we paid for him at the minute. But you bring him in, maybe if he comes in pre-season, Hughton has a look at him, thinks, well, I know he plays this way. He might play him a different way. It might click. Do you know what I mean? I always believe.
Not for me.
But yeah, but you can't. So say if we're sitting here this time next season, yeah,
Dylan,
and
you're not going to change my mind. You're not going to change my mind, Dylan. You know,
right.
this is what Dylan trying to make me like Carvalho, and guess what? It's not happening. Carvalho.
No, I'm not trying to make you lie.
Stephen, is Dylan trying to change my mind to make me a Carvalho lover? It's not happening, Dylan. I don't want him.
No,
back.
I don't think he is. I think he's just
that.
going to tell you that he could get him to
exactly.
play a different way.
You never know. How many times have you seen a player leave Forest like a McGoldrick, played absolutely, he hasn't played the best, and we all thought when he went, yeah, all right, he's gone to Sheffield United and played awesome. Do you know what I mean? And he played under Chris Wilder there.
Dylan, but we mentioned that about players leaving and they're playing fantastic. Carvalho, not for me. Not for me. He played fantastic under out of Quankio. He played all right. The only time he played good under Martin O'Neill when there was no pressure, when we were safe from relegation, like the Middlesbrough game. He didn't get a chance under Lamucci, did he? Because he got injured, didn't he, at the start of the season? And then, not for me.
The thing is with him is he's too dynamic for the rest of the squad. Probably, if the team was a bit more dynamic, you know. But again, on
the front foot,
the managers he's had is O'Neill, like the last few, O'Neill, Lamucci, and now Hughton. I don't think he's going to fit in at all because it's that same. It's dour at best sometimes, and we accept it when we get a result. So I just don't think whilst he's got the same sort of team around him in the same shape, and what he probably needs is a young sort of whippersnapper up front who he can feed balls to, you know, and who's going to latch onto it. And we've already spoke about our strikers are not those players anymore.
If you think back, right, we haven't had sorry, Ben, quick one. Since Assombalonga, we haven't had a whippersnapper up front. We've had Daryl Murphy, Grabban, Taylor, Murray. What else have we had up front? We haven't had a young 23, 24-year-old up front with plenty of pace. Can I just mention one name, though, of a player who came to us and now has gone to Spain and is ripping up the league, is Rafa Mir.
Oh, I know.
I've seen him.
Have you seen some of the goals he's scored?
Yeah.
He lobbed the keeper for 40 yards
the other day. This is my point about players coming to Forest and not doing nothing. Now look at him. And now look at him. He's
scoring at a new camp.
Yeah, but who did he play under? Who did he play under when he came?
Lamucci.
And look at him.
I never forget that Wigan away. He started and he's horrific. He couldn't kick the ball. He's gone to Spain and he's scoring 40 goals in 2 games.
Right, I'm bringing another Forest fan in, and it's Mr. Abiobi's Mr. Abiobi's love boy because he loves Abiobi, and let me bring him in. It's man like Lennon. Hello, Lennon.
Jeez! What's going on?
I'm all right. How are you doing, my friend? You all right?
I've missed you, darling. I'm joking.
As everyone knows, this is Lennon. He's a rapper and he's a big Forest fan as well.
Channel regular. What you on about?
Right, Lennon, you're a young boy, and Dylan wants Carvalho back. Do you want Carvalho back? You want Dylan? You want Carvalho back? No.
Listen.
No, I'm not having it.
Hear me out. Ben, listen to me, innit? I hear what everyone was saying. Personally, Carvalho didn't do anything for me last season, even when he did come on and play. We was at QPR away when he scored that goal. And I think that was the only time really I saw him last year come out of his shell, because he came on and he did the bit still. Can't lie. That's where I saw sparks of him when he was under Karanka and stuff. But when he was under Karanka, I genuinely think he was one of our better players. Him and Grabban, their little kind of like chemistry going on. That was where the goals were coming from. I think I went to Blackburn away that season when Karanka was manager, and them two were like teaming up. Blackburn could not handle both of them, but it kind of faded away when Karanka went. But personally, I think what I would do is I would have him back, and I'd probably sell him. To be fair, I won't loan him out again.
We won't get money back there. We'll get back. We'll get that $500,000 for him.
You never know, though, do you? You never know.
Nah, he's not for me, and that's my bad. I don't think he'll.
Fair enough.
But next thing we'll talk about youngsters, and as you know, Brendan Johnson he's done so well for Lincoln. Who else is there? Who else is the youngsters? Will Swan. Who else?
You got
KBL.
the boy at Plymouth, is it? For now, is it?
For now, he's a centre midfielder. Like, there's a question. Like we mentioned it, Hughton, he doesn't really play his youngsters. Like, Brendan Johnson is the man, is the one that everyone's been talking about. Do you think Brendan Johnson is the man to spark Forest, Des?
If Brendan Johnson didn't play for Forest and he was tearing it up like he is in League One, and we went and signed him, we'd be like, what a signing, what a prospect. But we all look at the Tyler Walker experience and think, is it going to go the same way? The fact of the matter is they've got to take him back, haven't they? They've got to give him a try. After what he's done in League One, they can't just sort of bring him back, use him as a bit part player. He's got to be in the squad for the first game of the season, preferably in the starting lineup. I'll run the games. If it doesn't work, a bit like the Carvalho thing, what was just said there, just draw a line under it and let him go.
Yeah.
Let's not keep loaning players out that we're never going to use. So, personally, I'd have him in the starting lineup for the first game of the season. Like, you're the prospect, you tore it up in League One, here's your chance. If he doesn't do it, if he does turn out to be like Tyler Walker, a bit lightweight, not quite the real deal, then we move on again, don't we? But it's one of those things, the more we loan him out, the more we talk about him. I think that's the point the guy there was trying to make about Carvalho. Bring him back and sell him, because at the end of the day, that's when we've finished the conversation.
Yeah, 100%. What about you, Dylan? What do you think about Johnson? Do you think it's time to get him at Forest?
Yeah, I watched him yesterday. I watched the Lincoln game. I watched the whole game and I thought I'll have a look at him. And do you know what? He literally reminded me a bit of Knockaert, but better. He constantly was running at players, trying to whip a ball in on the. I think he was on the right hand side, and every time he got the ball, he was always trying to make a play, and he wouldn't stand still. He'd run at defenders, he'd work it well with them, cross the ball well. He nearly got a goal, 1 or 2, yesterday's game. So yeah, stick him in. Why not?
Lennon, I know you wanted to see a rant, didn't you?
Yeah.
Go on. Let Lennon want to see a little rant to everyone, because I think he's not happy about something. Go on, Lennon.
No, I just think it just baffles my mind how we're letting a load of players go out of contract, and Hughton's said you can kind of see what's going on. 16 players. I've read about it, this, that, the other. I'm saying now, if we do not offer Amiobi another contract, this club is finished. I swear down. This club's stupid. This guy is the only threat. Him and Mighton on the wings. Is it just me that sees it? These two create a goal single hand. Did man not watch the Millwall game? I know but do you not see what they did?
I seen it.
Yo, Amiobi's so good. Like, I don't care if people can call him overrated. I don't care. Inconsistent. In my opinion, listen, I may be a fan of him, yeah, like, and I may back him up.
You love him.
I love him, yeah.
Lennon loves Amiobi. Just thought I'd get out there. Just thought I'd tell everyone.
Listen, but all I'm saying is, if we do not offer him another contract, yeah, the club's finished. But there are certain dead wood that we need to let go, like that back hero and shit like that. Like just get gone. Like it's wages that are just sat there. Like they're just getting paid like just to sit there. I just think it's dumb. Like just get gone. Dead wood. Bye. Like, you know
is that it, Lennon? Is that your rank gone?
That's it. But you mentioned about Brennan Johnson, innit? I'm just gonna say, I'd love to see him come back into the squad and play, but I'm not getting my hopes up because that guy's going to be gone. That guy is going to he will not play in a Forest shirt next season.
Don't you think?
He'll be going, I swear, I'm telling you now, he will not be at Forest next season. I might be wrong, but I'm telling you now, he's going to be, look at what he's doing for Lincoln. Yo, he's got clubs looking at him.
Lennon, that's League One. Lennon, that's League One. You can't jump from League One to, I don't know, to the Premiership that quick.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. Leeds are looking at him and so Burnley.
What's everyone else think?
Can I just say one thing, Ben? Can I just say one thing? There's one player that defies that, is Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, but he was in the Championship.
But he was non-league. He was non-league, and then he's ripped it up in the Premier League. I'm not comparing Brendan Johnson to Vardy.
No.
I'm just saying it's been a rare case, but yeah.
No, but you need to remember, right? He started from non-league, from League 2, League 1, Championship, and then he's ripping it in the Premiership. I think he needs. You need to remember, from the Championship to the Premiership, it's a massive jump. Brendan Johnson, I think the thing with Johnson, right? I think with the young, because he's ripping it for Lincoln. Do you really think he's going to come to the Forest team and thinking, and make him a superstar? The way Forest treat the youngsters. Do you really think that's going to happen?
I agree with Des. I think we may have another Tyler Walker scenario. I'm praying we don't. But what I would say is what I've seen of him, I think his physique and his stature as he's developing quicker than Tyler Walker did. I think Tyler Walker was still quite weak. Every time he came back to us, he still looked quite flimsy up front. And then when he went back to League 1, League 2, he was still, too good for that standard. But I think Johnson may be developing quicker. But there's been a big pressure on him next season to come into the team. And we'll all be like, oh, this kid is amazing. But if he doesn't perform, then we'll all be on his back.
So we'll talk about Glenn, I've told the lads about the season. What player had disappointed you for the whole season?
What for the whole this season?
Yeah, that you thought could have done better.
You may disagree, but it's Grabban for me still. I can't lie.
100%.
For me, the guy's just a war. He just don't care. Like he's old. He's another one that can go. Like we've got Lau Taylor that gets 15 minutes, and the guy takes up all his minutes eating chewing gum on the pitch, smiling and walking about. Man, he does my head in. Look. He's done his bits for Forest. Yeah, the season before last and last season. This season he hasn't looked interested at all. I don't care what anyone says. He hasn't at all. Not one bit of interest has come from him. You can talk all he wants in the press conferences, the club can do this and that, but the guy is getting. He's got. How much is that guy? How much do you think he's on? I don't know how much he's on, but how much do you genuinely think he's on?
35
grand a week, probably.
35 bags.
he doesn't need to show emotion. Look what he did with Sunderland. The guy is so he's a heartless player. When he was at Sunderland, I watched him
100%.
until I died. No, I can't. I can't. If it gets me mad, it gets me mad. So, yeah, it's got to be Grabban.
As you see, Lennon, I think he just wants Abiyobi to sign a contract. I think he's not bothered about no one else. I think he's just bothered about Abiyobi.
I'm not bothered. Get Abiyobi a contract. Hughton, get Abiyobi a contract now. I don't care. Get him one. If I'm at the City guy next season, I don't see Abiyobi there, the star man. It's raps for you next time I see you. Understand? No.
Oh my God! All right, then, let's change the subject. There's been so much gossip coming up from the papers, and as well, people and the viewers, you can watch this, you can have their opinion as well about the CEO. And as everyone knows, that he's been really bad off the pitch. And I think I spoke to Des about it, about him. What's your feelings about him leaving Forest?
I think it'd be a good thing for the club in terms of what he's supposed to have done and said and caused unrest at times and upset people. But does it create a bigger problem, the fact that he is leaving? You know, he's the man Marinakis wants there. He's the man who reports directly to Marinakis. You know, does that leave somebody there who Marinakis doesn't necessarily trust as much, and he gets a bit more sort of irrational with the decision making? You see what I mean? Does it create a bigger problem, the fact that I'm almost thinking, are they losing a bit of interest? I don't know. I'm just kind of putting 2 and 2 together and probably coming up with 7. But
yeah, but you know what it is. But I heard what I read, like he's even leaving Forest, or he'll still be at Forest, but play pay less attention from Forest. That's what I'm hearing. But
a lesser role.
Yeah, a lesser role, but.
It don't really make sense, does it? You know, why would you do that? He'd either do the job or he would it. Last season, he was an absolute pain in the arse, wasn't he?
Yeah, but right, you've got to look at it, right? I'm not trying to stick up for him. Right? You need to remember, he got so much money out of my cash. I think that's the only positive I could say. But
it was him who got the money.
Yeah,
he's obviously in that job for a purpose, and that's why Marinakis trusts him. You know, he's done a good deal there, and it's that side of things when it comes to the money where it's probably his real strength. Last season, it's his personality which is getting him and other people's back up, isn't it? You know, falling out with managers and falling out with players. That's not good in any scenario. So if the CEO is doing that, then we needed to move on last season. All of a sudden, there's some praise coming out for him again, and now it's like he's not going to be there. So I don't get it. I don't get why now. To me, and the players, the things that is not coming out of Hughton's mouth. You know, we don't know what we're going to do next season. We don't know what's happening. We don't know what players we can go for. It suggests that it's a bit dire to me. You know, this pre-season might be not what we expect, and I don't really fancy what's going forward if the CEO's leaving. You know, on the back of that sort of transfer of business last year, who's going to pick up the pieces there? And who's going to get into Marinakis?
But that's the thing. Like I said, as everyone knows, like I said, we're getting a new structure. I think we're getting the guy from Germany. I think there's another player, another coach called Chris Bass. Everything's moving at Forest. Like, I was talking to someone today about it. Like, I'm sick or tired Forest changing every season, changing coach, changing this analytics. Like, do you really think it's going to change anything on the pitch? Like, Stephen, like, do you think it's going to change? Like, we've heard it all before. It's just annoying.
As we look, take a club like Norwich, right? I know they're up and down in the Premier League, but Norwich have kept a good board, a good structure for years, right? And we would probably swap our position with Norwich being that going up and down, right? Other clubs have got good structure. I'm a true believer that you need a good structure at your club, and that does benefit the team on the pitch. I'm also a believer that what goes on behind the scenes shouldn't affect the players on the pitch. They get paid to do a job. They get paid thousands of pounds a week to do a job. Like, when we go to work, if our bosses or our board or whatever in the background are not performing to a point, we just need to do our job, concentrate on what we are doing. I mean, sometimes it does filter down, but I'm also a believer that the players, as long as they get the recruitment right, I think the recruitment's got to be spot on. I think this guy from Germany, Stuttgart, has got a good track record, all I've heard.
But I heard it all
doing
before.
this kind of thing.
We've heard it all before.
We have heard it before.
And this is annoying, but like I see on social media. You know what it is? I see on social media, oh, we're getting this German guy. He's got a good record. He's got a good record with Germany, but that's Germany. He's coming to Forest, different environment. It's going to be same old because we're getting players who's from abroad. Like, we should be focused on players from the lower divisions. And I know we've been linked with A, B, and C, everyone. But right, let's tell you, Lennon. You're a young fan. What would you prefer, young players or players from out the country? Jimmy. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah. I like players with experience, but I just don't like what Forest do. Yeah, it's like we have an obsession of signing players over like the age of 29, and
that callback.
Like you need like
that
you need a balance, a fair balance.
That callback. Look at Dylan's face. Look at Dylan's face.
No wrong with callback. Leave him alone.
We need like a fair balance of like young and old players.
Say again, Lennon. You're breaking up.
In my opinion, anyway.
Lennon, you're breaking up. I didn't hear that.
One sec. I'll join back. I'll join back.
All right. Yeah. Like I said, right. What was I saying about players like? I prefer young players, but Dylan, what do you think, Dylan? Do you think it's right for Forest to bring in someone from foreign and bring in players from overseas? What do you think?
No, I don't think that'll happen with Hughton in charge at the minute. I've heard as well.
Sorry, Dylan. Sorry, Dylan. Mark's getting blocked. Carry on.
I've heard that Hughton has brought some people behind the scenes in to help him with transfers and stuff that we don't know about, that he's worked with in the past. But with young players, regarding young players and that, it's nice to play with young players, don't get me wrong. But young players, inexperienced players, are not going to get us out of this league. You're going to need a ratio of more older players, more experienced players to play with the youngsters to get us out of this league. You're not gonna say, right, you've got a team, we'll bang 11 youngsters out. It's never gonna. Do you know what I mean? You're never gonna get promoted, or you're never gonna get in the playoffs. You need probably seven, maybe 8 kind of veterans, not over the age of 29, 30, but with experience with the league and that, to work round with the likes of like Myton. Myton will get a chance next season, definite.
Do you think?
Yeah, of course he is. He's got. Do you know what I mean? Hughton will. The thing is, I was listening to Talk Sport today.
Yep.
I was listening to Talk Sport, and Simon Jordan
Prick.
on it. Well, he is and he ain't. But anyway, he talks. Well, he was saying a lot of stuff about Derby that you'd have liked.
I love it.
Right. Anyway,
we'll talk about him later.
Yeah, but he said, and I agreed with it, that to get out the Championship, and even Danny Murphy was on it, and he said the same. To get out the Championship, you need experience. You can play younger players.
Dylan, we've had experience. We've had experienced players this season.
Yes, but
Why
we've had
why have we not done nothing this season? Come on.
because me personally reckon that the 14 players that we brought in for I think was just to lift the morale of the Forest fans after the disaster we had trying to reach the playoffs. Everyone knew that the January leading up to that playoff last year was basically we should have gone out and signed on loan Dwight Gale. Everyone knows that.
But yeah, but the problem is, I think the problem with that, like I said, when we brought in players like, I think it was, we wanted Taylor in January, we wanted Freeman in January, didn't we? And I think like you just said, we got them 14 players.
That was to keep everyone happy. Yeah, that was people just picking. Oh yeah, he's a good name. Yeah, we'll pay you that. He's a good name. We'll pay you that. Like Ariata, did they pay 4.5 million for it?
5 million. 5 million for Ariata. 5 million.
Me personally, I think Ariata hasn't been given a run in the team. Every time he's played, he's been dire. But you know what I mean. Start of the season, Christie. Everyone wanted Christie out by November time, but he come on through the season. It's like Lau Taylor. Everyone's slating Lau Taylor at the minute, saying he's this, he's that, but it's no consistent. Do you know what I mean? You know, as playing football before, and probably you lads will understand. If you play 1 week, get a run in the squad, and then don't play for a month, you're never going to get a consistency. You're never going to pick play your form, are you? So with the experience, me over youngsters over experience, I prefer having probably 70%, maybe 80% of experienced players with the rest of it in youngsters. That's my personal opinion.
What's your opinion, Des?
We just need good players, don't we? I don't care how old they are. You know, you need a bit of a blend. You know, a couple of youngsters coming through, a couple of youngsters from the lower leagues, and then a bulk of good players. I think the problems with what we've got now and the fact we've got a very experienced squad, we were just too desperate, weren't we? We went shopping in January. We went shopping in January in the overinflated market, and then went back and shown some desperation in those same players.
He was.
And going back to that point you made about the input from either foreign players or lower league players or foreign coaches and things like that, we have, no matter who we've got to keep some consistency. So changing the recruitment person every year is not going to work. Changing the coaches, it's not going to work. I think the problem with Lamucci, for example, was he wasn't in the job long enough to understand the Championship, because he disrespected teams like Wigan, disrespected the fact that Barnsley were going down, and disrespected that Stoke had nothing to play for. If you don't pick the right players for a horse for a course, you know, it's shown this season at times with Murray. You know, stuck him in against Wickham, throwing 2 goals in. You know, because Hughton's got that bit of experience. So I suppose what I'm talking myself into is we've got to give Hughton the time and the people who know the Championship. That's what we need. They need to know the English football pyramid and how the fact you can't rest players against Wigan or Wickham or
that was an awful game. That was you're on about the away game. You're on about the away game, aren't you?
Yeah, we was talking there about Rafa Mir, but it was Rafa Mir and Bostock was played, and basically you like to die, because again, like Dylan says, you can't give players one game here and there like we have with Taylor, because it doesn't work. So what they need to find is good, solid Championship players, and then sort of fitting around them. We spoke about the right back, didn't we? Do you know the situation with the right back? If we did it with Matt Cash, do you know, he was kind of at the start, as you pointed out a lot, he was a square peg in a round hole.
He wasn't a right back. He wasn't a right back, but that's not my fault. That was your fault, Malcolm. Don't blame. Listen to me. I'm sick or tired of people blaming me for it. It was Malcolm's fault. Mike Cash is not right back. What
I'm saying there is you fit the players in there and around the experience, and that's kind of where Karanka was going, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, he was fitting a Carvalho in with a Grabban, you know, and there was a bit of foreign flair, foreign input. It's not a bad thing, because the problem is we're signing good, solid Championship players as well. Is you spend $4.5 million on a 30-year-old, you know, and you spend a lot of money. I just don't get the recruitment. The recruitment from last year when they signed that guy from Huddersfield, you know, and then they went back for those players.
Carby.
You're crappy. But yeah, they've just got to find that blend. It doesn't matter where players come from if they're good enough, you know. And look at Norwich; they've got some good youngsters in there, some real good youngsters, the fullbacks and you know. But they've brought players through, and you touched on the structure. The structure's been there for that long. They know what they're doing for 2-3 years in advance. That's never going to happen at Forest if you're changing coaches, changing managers, changing. It's proven to be a success. If you keep your manager, they're generally the most successful ones. Look at Solskjaer, for example. I don't want to bring other teams into it, but every 6 weeks he's getting the sack, and then he's still there, and they're progressing. You know, and they might not progress in that one, but they are.
This is the problem. I think, like I'll talk about Hughton now, because next season, as you lot know, he's going to be under pressure anyway, because if he's not in the top 6 in December, Forest fans are going to be actually hammering him. But I still see Forest fans on social media saying Hughton's boring, Hughton's this, Hughton's that, and he's going to be under pressure regardless. So, Stephen, where does in your opinion, where does Chris Hughton in December need to stay? Where do you think he should be to make fans happy? Because anyone who runs Forest as a manager, they're under pressure regardless.
I would say he has to start the season better than Amuchi did this season, for one. I would say by the January window, he has to be in the top 8. I think fans would be
I don't think that's good enough, but
I think I'm just saying top 8, because if he's just slightly out of the playoffs, but then look what happened to Sean O'Driscoll. Sean O'Driscoll was 7th and we sacked him. I know it was under Farwaz and so on, but I would say Hughton's got to be around the top 6 by January. And then, again, do we go and sign more players in January? It depends where we are. Maybe you have to maybe you just sign 1 or 2 loan players to get us over the line.
Do you know,
because this summer, this summer is a massive recruitment surge. He's got to get it right. He's got to start the season right. Like you said, Ben, we just be on his back from day one otherwise.
Lennon, what's up, Lennon?
No, just sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. I was just saying a quick one for next season. In my opinion, if we're going to get anywhere, the first thing we need to look at is a goal scorer. And you may disagree, but if we can get him on a free, disagree right now, I don't care.
Go on.
Get Brit back.
He will score.
He will score goals. Ben, don't listen. Don't do this. He'll score goals.
Right. The thing with Brit, right? Like, don't get me wrong. I think he'll, from his end of the Forest career, he got injured, right? Remember that injury he had?
Yeah, he celebrated.
Yeah, he celebrated. And since then, not for me.
But
like,
if you put him in that side, I can guarantee you goals from him if you put him in the right team.
Lennon, the problem is, I don't know if people agree with me, put in the comments below, he needs service. That's the problem. Grabban, I don't know if you want to agree or not. Lewis Grabban, I hated it when he drops deep.
Yeah, we speak about this too.
Yeah, and with
the centre mid.
Yeah,
and then he plods along.
And the problem is that Brit, if he's not going to get that next season, he's going to be frustrated. He's not going to get goals. Forest fans will slaughter him. Say, "Oh, he's not doing this. He's not doing that."
Yeah.
I don't think Brit's the man.
Do you know what's a shame? Obviously, I've been looking at a load of League One teams and strikers. Yeah. Do you know what's such a shame again? How last year we looked at Tony. We looked at Tony, and apparently we were very close. We were very close to signing him. Then he went to Brentford. We all know that Peterborough, yeah, they don't like selling to Forest. I've been looking at this Clark Harris, yeah, and he's another one that's a dangerous striker, man. Bring him up from League One, but Forest won't get him because he's at Peterborough.
Look, Peterborough's just been promoted, so they'll use him in the Championship
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah. Facts. But it all depends on, but money talks. Like, Brett, you know what I mean? Like, a certain amount of money comes in, they're not gonna be stupid. It's like Forest with cash. Aston Villa set a fat price tag on it with 15 million. But he went. You know, money does talk.
15 million. The way I look at it, was 15 million for a right back for one season. That's all he was, as a right back for one season. Then we got 15 mil out of it.
And now, in my opinion, Matty Cash has been one of the players of the season in the Premier League.
Oh, Leonard, don't say that, because I feel bad now when you say that, because I actually wasn't a right back, and now look at him.
Matty Cash is not a right back.
But actually, that's not.
You're wrong, mate.
You're wrong, Marcus. See, I told you it's Marcus' fault. This is all Marcus' fault, not my fault. But yeah, guys, back to the question. Like I said, I don't. Chris Hughton, he needs to start really good, because if he doesn't, Forest fans, they are fickle on social media. They'll go for him.
Yeah.
And he needs to start good next season. But the question is, like, what do Forest need to do to improve next season? That's the biggest thing we need to talk about, to get Forest in the big time. Like, it's been how long? It's been 24 years? 23, 24 years now? And we talk about this over and over. We talk this over and over and over and again. Like, I said it on a podcast yesterday. I'm fed up saying Forest are going to do it next season. I don't know what are you lot fed up with it? Keep seeing the same old thing every season, Des?
I don't think Forest are going to do it next season. I think it's a massive rebuild. I think Hughton will get the sack, because he won't be able to turn it around. And you mentioned the fans, Ben, how fickle we can be. We are, but Marinakis won't stand for it either. His biggest problem is Marinakis, not the fans. Because that's why Karanka got sacked, wasn't it? Because he dropped just outside the playoff. Yeah. His remit was New Year's Day, I believe. You've got to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they had one result where they dropped just out. So I think
that Norwich game away.
Oh, don't mention Norwich. Oh, don't mention Norwich. Oh, that's the worst.
I think if Hughton can get us into the top half of the table, I think he's done a very good job, because I think there's going to be a massive turnover of players. And again, I was just talking about that consistency of building and keeping. When we had Matty Cash and Joe Lolly, you know, it was a couple of seasons in the making, you know, and Ben Watson he'd gone through his tricky patch, and Grabban had gone through a tricky patch. You know, so it's about getting that consistency in players, learning off each other. Look at the combinations we've had. Even before Warrell was at centre back, I wonder if Figueiredo didn't know what day it was. You know, and it's all about that consistency. So I think if he can get us into the top 10, I think you keep him and you let him go again, because that'll be a success for me. Because I think it's 2 or 3 years before we're even talking promotion again.
What about you, Stephen? What do you think Hughton needs to do next season?
Yeah, like I said earlier, about he's got to get the firepower in, isn't he? We just got to start scoring more goals. Well, we scored like 38 goals this season. Top scorer 6. It's pathetic. You know, we've got to start. You know, do you ever feel you go into a game, you think, yeah, we're going to win this 4-0 comfortable? We never do now, do we? We never feel comfortable going into a game. Not even, no offence to Wickham or Rotherham, we don't even go into them games feeling that we're going to get, you know, like, can you imagine being like a Brentford fan or a Norwich fan this season going into these games? Them fans must be just thinking, yeah, we're just going to brush these aside. It's just so frustrating, Ben, like you said, we haven't been there for so long. Like last year, I think was a freak season, Lil Mucci. I think it was just caught us off guard. I think where we didn't have any expectation with Lamucci and he exceeded it, I think with Hughton, we just expect him now to be where Lamucci was and get us over that line. I think that's why Hughton's got so much pressure on his back. and he's just got to get that recruitment right. He's got to get it right.
Last but not least, lads, before we do go, I said it's going to be a tough season. Like there's going to be teams like Sheffield United are down, West Brom are down, and I don't know who's. I think it's Fulham. If Fulham lose today, they're down. They're going to spend big. Like, do you really think Forest need to spend big to get where we belong? Because, like I said, we spent. I don't know how much money we spent. We spent. I think we spent like the whole 16 million on 14 players. Like, do you really think Forest need to spend big to get to Premiership? Des?
I think what Hughton needs to do is identify a starting lineup, because I'm not sure he knows his best lineup yet, apart from across the back probably. He needs to identify his starting lineup and then sign 3 or 4 real good players. Not eight average players, not 10 average players. Do you know
what position? Though? What position do you think? What positions do you think that we need to get there?
We need a left back. We need a striker. I'd love him to sign Garner, perhaps on loan. Do you know that'd be a start, wouldn't it? Somebody who's again working off that consistency. But we definitely need a striker because we've only got 2. Because Murray won't be there. We need a winger who can play off both sides, and I think he needs to sort of then condense down what he's got. So you're looking at people like you'd expect Lolly to stay, I'd imagine. Lolly and Amiobi to keep, and get a good striker in there. Get a left back, perhaps give a youngster a try in 1 or 2 positions. Are we going to see even more of Mighton next year? I wouldn't expect, if we do see a lot of Mighton, that he's going to throw a kid in at right back as well. That might be a bit of a tricky situation to manage. So I just think, as ever, we need a winger, we need a striker, and we need a left back. What changes in 22 years?
Just for telling you, Fulham are losing 2-0, so it looks like we'll be heading. Looks like another trip to Fulham for me. I really enjoyed Fulham last season. If no one sort of like.
I think those clubs coming down, Sheffield United will be a real force. They'll come down with a whimper, but I just think they'll be strong. And if Allardyce stays at West Brom, they'll probably storm it.
And that's my question, Des. And that's my question. The teams that are coming down, they're going to have money to spend through the parachute money. And you just mentioned Sheffield United. They've got good players. They've got good players, and like it's like with Fulham. Fulham can come down. They're still going to have good players. And this is the problem with Forest. Like, they can spend 20, 25 million. I think Hughton's the man. I remember Dylan kept saying Hughton will get sacked. Didn't you, Dylan?
Yeah, I did at one point.
No, you still don't give him that 1 point. You still think he'll get sacked?
No, I don't.
Yes, right, people. Look back on the review.
No. I know. I did say.
Right. Des and Stephen, did people in the comments? Can you remember Dylan saying Hughton will get sacked? Don't try and backtrack it, Dylan.
No, I'm not backtracking. I did say it. I'm saying I did say it, and I thought he won't at the end of the season.
To be fair to Dylan, I did say I can see him not being there. I don't think he should be sacked. I don't think he will get sacked. But someone's niggling away at me, thinking. He's all well. Obviously, this Ventos thing as well. He's all well in the back again.
He's having a meeting anyway. Hughton's having a meeting in the next week or so with Marinakis. So
yeah, I saw it in the paper.
Anything's on the table.
Oh, yeah, but what's going to say? Oh, I need him.
Yeah, but Marinakis, Marinakis don't deal with that side of it. He just tells. Marinakis will basically tell him what he wants for next season. Promotion. That's what he's going to say. Top 6 finish.
Top 6. No, listen to me. He's not going to say that. He wants top 2.
He can't get top. Yeah, but listen. Sorry. He can't literally say to Chris Hughton and say, right, next season I want top 2 finish. By the way. We're under FFP. We can't spend too much. Blah blah blah. We've got to balance the books. You've got to do it on a shoestring budget against the likes of Fulham, West Brom, Sheffield United, they can spend whatever they want for the first 2 years of being in the Championship. Do you know what I mean? So realistically, he's got to be top 6. Simple as. There's no other way. Yes, me personally, I believe we shouldn't fear them teams. It's a new start now. Season's done. Last season's gone. All the players, whatever he does, it's August the 7th. The squad we've got then. Do you know what I mean? It all depends on that.
But like I said, I'm fed up with it. I'm like,
what you fed up with?
Because like I said,
we've been out of it for 20 odd years.
I know
we are in FFP. Simple as.
No, I get that.
We will never. This is the thing. We will never be able to compete with the teams that keep coming down, dropping down, because they. Do you know what I mean? They've got whatever they spend. They've got parachute payments. They can spend whatever they want. They can go out and spend 60, 70 million. They've got 2 years to claw it back, where we haven't.
Look at Norwich.
Yeah, exactly. But this is, like you were saying earlier, about Forest fans are expecting this or expecting that. I think we need to take a step back and realise Marinakis has owned the club for 4 years. 4 years now.
Yeah. 5 years. 5 years. Yeah. He was in Fowler's here.
Well, whatever, right? But we've got to do it. We can't sit here. Yes, I want to be the first one to say automatic promotion, simple as. Yeah.
I personally think, but I'll give you an example, right? Look at Watford. Watford was in the playoffs, right? They sacked their manager when it was 5th in the table. This is why they've got some ruthless. You know Watford, they've got some ruthless owners, aren't there? Ruthless owners. And Makarakis, like I said, his plan was his 5-year plan, as everyone knows, to get in the Premiership, European football, and all this nonsense that he said. It's not going to happen. I think.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen one day. It's got to happen. It's got to happen one day.
Des, do you think it'll happen, Des? Or Stephen, do you think it will happen?
I think. Sorry, Des, go on. Do you want me to go first or you?
No, you go first, mate.
Des is waiting.
Dylan made a good. Dylan made a good point, right? I think what we're up against, and I don't agree with parachute payments. I think it's rubbish, right? But what we're up against now is we've had it over the years. We've had Norwich come down. They kept Pookie, right? They soaked their right back and left back, but they kept the core of their team. Fulham came down a few years ago. They kept Mitrovic. They went back up. West Brom will come down. They will probably sell that Pereira. He's a good player. They'll make money off him, but they'll keep the likes of Charlie Austin, Robson Kanu, these players, Livermore. They'll keep the core of their team, right? There's been you can think of other. Watford came down. They kept Sarr, Will Hughes. They kept these players, and that's what we're up against. Like Dylan said, we are up against these teams who come down. They can afford to keep the core of their team. They sell one player, and they'll make 20 million off him, and they've got 20 million to spend to add to already a good squad. That's not good enough for the Premier League, but too good for the Championship. And we're not in that. And we are just picking up scraps. We're picking up the odd player here, the odd player there, and we're not seem to be. And what frustrates me is why can't we sign a player like a Pookie or Ben Rama, who's gone to West Ham now, the boy who's at Brentford.
Yeah,
we can't seem to pluck these players for some reason, and we're up against these squads who go up and down. Yeah, we laugh at them and say, "Oh, you know, the yo-yo squad." But look, we've been stuck in the League One for a few years, but we've been stuck out of the Premiership for 20 odd years. That's why that's what we're up against. And
this is the thing, you know, when I hear on Sky Sports and other social media platforms, and I hear Championship is the one of the best leagues in the world. No, it's not. It's the most frustrating league.
It's the hardest league to get out.
It's the frustrating. I hate the league.
If Bournemouth get promoted now to the playoffs, this will be a weak league because the 3 teams that came down have gone back up. And
exactly.
That doesn't really happen. That's pretty bad standard for a league, I think, because that means there's no competition there.
Des, are you ready to explode?
No. I just agree with the guys. I don't expect anything, so I can only judge it on what I expect. I think what you're saying, Ben, is that Marinakis wants the top 2, but it's just unrealistic, because that's why I said I think Hughton's going to get the sack. because he'll want him to be higher than he is. And the reality is we can't compete.
Exactly.
Last
That's what it is.
season, we was punching above our weight. We knew we was. That term shithousing came in a lot, didn't it?
Yeah.
And because we shouldn't have been where we was. And that's why I was not against them not sacking Lamucci, because we were punching above our weight. And again, I'm looking for that consistency. And we haven't got the type of players to compete with some of those that Stephen's just mentioned there. You know, we just can't compete. You mentioned Oliver Burke, and he's been rubbish since he left Forest.
Yeah.
But you just know he's going to come back and tear Figueiredo and Worrell in two. You know, because he's got all that experience from playing in a higher league now. You know, it happened with Pukki, didn't it? He went up, didn't quite cut the mustard, looked okay in parts, but didn't get many goals. People thought, oh, he's not good enough. Mitrovic is another one. Come back down, 25 goals a season, guaranteed.
Yeah.
We can't get that consistently out of a player. Yeah, Grabban did it last year. But if you can't score goals, it's as simple as that. You're not going up. And the style Forest play, and they keep employing the same managers for the same style, we're not going up because they don't attack the other person's goal. That's the biggest problem we've got. So, yes, I say we keep Hughton, give him a go because he's the man in the seat. I've never been over the top on Hughton because his record's good. I give him that. But I just thought he's a manager coming into a club that is inbred to lose. You know? And that's a hard thing to break. When he went to Newcastle was that team coming out of the Premier League. When he went to Birmingham, that team. Brighton had a massive building project where he picked up momentum with it. Yeah. And I think at Forest, it's just not that. You need somebody to. I hate the thought of this, but you need an Allardyce or a Warnock to come in and really shake it up. To really just shake the thing up and go, right, we're going to attack this. We're going to attack it. Playing the style we do and trying to come back next season and go, yeah, we might get promoted. We're not. It's as simple as that. We won't go up next season. You know, wow. I'll take a bet with anybody now. We won't go up next season.
I'll bet like people.
Well, how do you know that? How do you?
I don't do it.
I know. We finished the league 3 days ago. Do you know what I mean? So we've got yet again, we're all sitting here going, oh, we're never going to do it. We're never going to be.
No,
we've got the recruitment to come. We've got players to come in.
My point was like you just said, we're getting the recruitment. But like we've been here for the last 24 years, we're hearing this person's coming in, this person's coming in. We're getting that, we're getting this, and I'm sick of it.
Yeah, but listen, the CEO, what's his name?
Ventros,
yeah. He's been at the club, right, for 4 years. Since Marinakis took over. Marinakis put him in place to do all this, right? I think what I've heard is the only thing decent he's ever done, he can do, is negotiate selling players. Yeah, because supposedly he's supposed to be absolutely spot on at selling your players.
Like Cash.
Yeah, so like Cash. Who was the season before?
Who season before?
They always sell. What's his name? That young kid who went to Greece, Spain, or somewhere.
Alpaya. But he's not doing nothing in Spain.
No, but this was
we had £8 million for him.
Right, is Venturos, yeah, he can. I think that's why Marinakis is going to leave him at the club in a different role to negotiate selling players if we need to, yeah, or bringing players in, because I've heard he's quite good at negotiations, yeah. But under the day-to-day running of the club with the manager, he hasn't done what he's supposed to do. So that's why I think Marinakis just shook it up and gone, well, you've been there for 4 years, you haven't done what we've set out to do. So, but you're good in this position to do this for us. That's why they're bringing different people in now to work to go a different dynamic. Because, like you say, he had a 5-year plan. It hasn't gone to 5 years. Do you know what I mean? So he's got to try something different. And just saying about Hughton and that, I think now we have a manager that has done it before and that. we have to be consistent with the manager. There's no point getting to Christmas and sitting in 10th and going, because everyone wants to win the league by Christmas, and it never happens. Do you know what I mean? The thing is, what they've got to do is go, right, if we're in 10th or 8th by Christmas, it's better than this year. Do you know what I mean? You've got to keep that manager in place and just keep saying to him, all right, then, we want this season, but see what you can do. And give him a couple of seasons. Let him build and build and build. But this is the problem with Forest. They don't. They get to Christmas, you sit 10th, right, we're sacking him. He's brought a load of new players in. Right, we'll get such and such in. He'll come in, and then he's there. Right, I need 15 games to work out what all these players can do. Before we know it, we're at the end of the season again, going through the whole process again.
That's my point, Dylan. That's my point. Like, it is possible for anyone to go up because the league's just erratic at times.
Yeah.
But I'm saying we're totally agreeing, but saying it different. We need to be realistic. So if we're 10th, keep him because it's progress. It's progress.
Exactly.
Everyone's looking. Finish 10th in the season. The problem is they're not going to, are they? And that's why we keep getting ourselves into this mess season on season.
It's a cycle.
Everyone's looking. Everyone keeps, and this does my head in a bit. Is Chris Hughton is a good manager? Yes, he is a bit old-fashioned in his tactics and that, but he does a job, right? And everyone keeps going, what he did at Brighton, what he did at Brighton, what he did at. Forget that. He's not at Brighton now. Brighton was a different time and everything. Let him do what he needs to do now. He knows what he's doing. It's not like we've just got, like when Lamucci come in, everyone was like, who's Lamucci? What's going off? No one knows him. You don't know the league. Hughton knows the league. He will get what he needs to pick us up. Do you know what I mean? Look what he did in January. Just them couple of players he brought in. So to me, it makes you look and think, do you know what I mean? What can he do in a full transfer window in the summer with a pre-season under his belt?
Eddie, who are you talking about? Eddie, who's negative? I don't know who you're talking about. Is it? I don't know. Go on. Who are you talking about? I don't know who you're talking about. Who's negative? I don't think we're being negative. I think we're just being honest. What's going to be happening?
Realistic.
Yeah, but listen, like I'm being like Craig Price now, being realistic, and I don't like being realistic. I like to be positive. Dylan, it's all about you, Dylan.
Why? Well,
It's spot on. No, I mean, it must be about you, Des. Are you talking about Des? He must be talking about you, Des. I don't know if he's talking about Dylan. It's definitely not me.
I agree. Negative, was that?
No, I think Des is right what he says. If we finish 10th,
I don't know who Eddie's talking about. Eddie, who are you talking about?
If we finish 10th next season, it's a better position than we finished this season.
It's not that. No.
Well, why not? Well, what gives us, and this is what gives Forest the defined right to think that we belong in the Premiership?
We've got no right.
No, we haven't. So why?
I think it's just because we've been starved of it for so long.
What?
Des, it's you, Des. Sorry, Des. But, yeah.
Get Max back on. Get Max back on.
Well, no club will ever do anything if they keep sacking managers. And this is the problem. Come December, January, we sat 8th, or YouTube's gone. We just might as well just scrub the season off.
But do you know what's mental, all right? Lamucci was 30 minutes away from possibly taking us to the Premier League. You know, we were 1-1 and I don't like to bring that game up again, but again, it goes back to my point. We did have no reputation with Lamucci.
You are, Stephen. If we came back again.
Sorry, Ben.
Yeah, don't upset me, please.
But one thing I would say, if we had done a pre-season video on Lamucci, we would have just said we would take 50. Yeah. And this is my point. Like Des said, this league can throw up some curveballs. Like next season, yeah, the likes of Fulham, Sheffield United, and West Brom be up there. But like over the years, we've had like a Huddersfield come from nowhere and go up. You know, we've had them kind of teams that come from nowhere. Like Barnsley in the playoffs. It just shows. And can you name any stars in a team?
Right. Listen to that. I think in 2 days' time, I'm going to do my prediction because I did a prediction from the start of the season. And Barnsley fans, I'm so sorry because I did a prediction of Barnsley will get relegated. So I am dreading for that video as well. So,
well, you you done what Dion Dublin did, because the season that Huddersfield went up, Dion Dublin put Huddersfield as bottom for that season. So yeah,
dude.
so that's what I mean. So you got a team like Huddersfield up. So I don't see why we can't be that team next season. You know,
we totally can. We totally can, Steve. You know, even negative me believes that. You know.
Negative Des.
Can I just say Aidan wants to watch my YouTube channel if he thinks I'm glass half empty.
People, go subscribe to Des. Daily, do daily. Go and pray. You need to watch it. You need to watch it, people.
No, but it's like anything can happen, and that's what we all want. We all really want that. But
boys, I got a shit toilet.
Go to it.
Yeah, I am.
We overhype the situation and end up disappointed. It's time. If he makes progress, let him stay. Do you know, I'm not his biggest fan, but you've got to let somebody who's made progress with what's happened this year stay in a job.
This is a good question. This is from my friend Craig from school. So, what if he's 15th for Christmas? Would you stick with him? Would you stick with Hughton if he's 15th next season? But this is the problem.
No.
Okay. So what if he was? If Hughton was, if he finished 9th next season, would you stick with him? This is the question we need to know.
Yeah.
People in the comments as well. People in the comments, would you stick with Hughton if he was 8th and below? Because my expectations, I think it's too high. Before we go, what's everyone's expectation for next season? Because what I'm going to do when the season starts, I'll get you lot on again, and then we'll see what Forest have done from now to the season start. When is it? The 6th, 7th of August. It starts, don't it?
Yeah.
I'll get you two and Dylan on, and we'll see what he has done, because I think everyone's expectation is get to the Premiership. But
that's the key, isn't it? The key is the summer, and none of us have really got an idea of how it's going to pan out. We
are just basing off Hughton at the moment, aren't we? We're not basing off at the team he's building. We're just basing off Hughton's name. That's it.
Yeah. Because there's nothing coming out about what they're going to do. Like which players are staying, which players are coming. You know, and it's we're just speculating based on the fact that Hughton's done a job in the past, and that's why lots of people are far too positive. I'm not getting into that, but you know what I mean. People are just going. He got them promoted. Do you know that's like Dylan said, that's a different club. That was a different time.
Yeah.
Don't want Bolton and Birmingham.
Brighton got a better structure than we have.
Yeah.
Dylan, this is from my friend Craig Coker. And
yes.
So, what if, like I said, I would say to the lads, if Forest was finished 15th, would you stick with him? Or if he finished 10th next season, would you stick with him? Yes or no? And what's your expectation? What is your expectation?
Me?
Yeah, what's your expectation?
The way it's going at the minute is, my expectation is I want better than this season. Avoiding relegation. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be down the bottom. If we finished, I don't know. I want top six. Top six. That's my expectation.
That's your expectation.
Top six, because, like I said earlier, the top two, it's going to be so hard with everyone coming down. You know, with Fulham. Well, Fulham look like they're coming down. They've only got 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, they're down. They're down.
Yeah, West Brom. Sheffield United basically have already got a top Championship team playing in the Premiership.
That's what we said.
Yeah. So realistically, I want top six. But at the end of the day, if we finished around about 10th,
would you be happy with that?
What, 10th? I wouldn't be happy. Don't get me wrong. I don't want that.
Everyone's expectation. Right. Let me put that before we go. Let me. Dylan, what I said, Dylan, before the season starts, I'm gonna get all you three of you before the season starts. See if our mindsets change from now to the end of the season, because Hughton could bring.
What, after we've seen who we signed?
Yeah, the players that we signed.
Yeah.
Before the season starts, the day before the season starts, I'll get everyone on and see if our mindset's gone different from now. Because everyone's expectation is him to finish 10th or 8th, and he's doing a fine job. My mindset is just thinking he needs to get top 6, and if he doesn't, he's gone. That's my expectation. But like I said, I'll get everyone up.
That's the owner, isn't it? Though that's up to them. That's why we don't own football clubs.
I've got Swansea away day. You can jog on Swansea away day. That's Reece, Swansea fan. I hope Barnsley bat you in playoffs. I hope you do. I like Swansea away. Do you remember Steve 2 seasons ago?
Yeah.
Good result that was. Beating 1-0.
Yeah.
But yeah, last but not least, lads. Like I said, right, let me ask you one more question. And we give you one position. Where do you think Forest needs a strength? Dylan, where do you think Forest desperately needs a strength? Just one position.
One position up the top.
At the top. Okay. What player would you bring in?
I don't know exactly who I'd bring in. You've got to bring in a goal scorer. Simple as. So if that is the likes of taking a punt on Brit, he's free. Do you know what I mean? Maybe he could really.
Not me.
You don't know though. You shake your head. You don't know.
Not me. I know we don't know. Like I said, I believe Grabban is played as a number 10 now. That's the way Hughton's going because he's too old. Because he's getting older now, so he's going to use him as a number 10 and put a younger and fresh. Do you know what I mean? Striker. It's all right going to League One and League Two or further down the league to look for a goal scorer. Yes, you had the likes of Ivory Tone there, who freakishly did it. Do you know what I mean? And he's been a good. If he goes for 35 million, it's a good bit of business. But you need to have someone there. Maybe Taylor could do it. You don't know. Maybe bring someone, a decent striker in who we can bang a goal in to play with Taylor up front. But it's up top. Up top, we need a goal scorer. What about you, Des? Where do you think Forest needs a strength?
Striker. And I'm going to disagree with Dylan. The reason I wouldn't sign Britt Sambulonga because his legs are gone. When he played for Forest, and there's a reason I say this, when he played for Forest last time, he was explosive. You know, he'd drop off someone's shoulder and Reedy would stick one over the top and he'd bang it in. And we had Antonio doing a similar thing. That's why we was top of the league for a period under Stuart Pearce. So that's why I wouldn't sign him. But the reason I mention that is because we need somebody who can run. We need a striker that can run. The problem is we've had now for far too long is that there's no pace in the team full stop, but the one position you need pace is up front. And we've got strikers who are aging. Again, whether Grabban, Taylor stay, we need perhaps a young... I don't know what the guy at Blackpool, I've never seen him play, so I can't really comment on him, but somebody young and who's a bit more mobile than what we've got. Do you know, again, I'm digressing a bit, but you look at Pookie, for example, moving between the lines. Do you know, his movement is incredible. Might not be the quickest, but someone who can even move, just somebody who's got a bit of agility, do you know, a bit of sort of nous about him to get in positions. And these players are good. Grabban's good. Taylor's good. You know, most teams in the Championship would take them off you. But they're not mobile enough anymore. So we need someone who's either lightning quick or somebody who's just sort of never stops running, you know, that kind of player who's just going to almost a young Jack Lester type player, maybe.
I like Jack Lester.
Oh, yeah.
I actually saw him yesterday. That's why he sprung to mind. But somebody who sort of finds them kind of positions and perhaps a little bit aggressive, you know, plays off the front foot. That's what I'm trying to get to, I guess. Somebody who's going to play off the front foot, because my biggest criticism of Grabban is he plays back on his heels and his shoulders are down. And I feel if Grabban played off the front foot, and like Dylan says, he's probably going to withdraw even more and more now because he's older. If he played off the front foot, he'd have played in the Premier League for all of his career. So I'm looking at a striker who can get between the lines and cause a bit of havoc.
Des, are you the same, Des?
Steve.
What's that?
Are you the same? Do you want attacking player or you're not?
You're asking me, you?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said Des then.
No.
Yeah, 100% striker. He's been a player we've been linked with before, but he'd probably cost too much money now. I still think we needed like a Dwight Gale in that league.
You know what? Someone literally someone just mentioned that as well. Dwight Gale.
All right. Yeah.
He's signing a new contract at Newcastle.
Oh, is he? Right. Okay.
Yeah,
another player. Yeah, another player would love at Forest as well, but he's in the team regular now. Is Vidra. He's always a player. He's a player I admire. Yeah, even though he used to score against us.
He loves scoring past Forest.
And do you know what though? Even though he has gone through a bit of a dry spell, I don't know. Do you think? Right, here's a question, quick one. Do you think it's worth a punt on Jordan Rhodes?
Yeah.
How old is he though?
He's about. I don't know. I like
29. I'm going to say. I'm going to say 28, 29.
His best season was
when he scored against us, which is every season.
his best season was Huddersfield.
You know what? He's instinctive, isn't he? The goal he got, well, he didn't score, but he got his head in there. He's a striker. He gets his head on stuff.
Yeah.
You know, he creates havoc.
He's 31 years old.
He's old, isn't he?
Yeah, but I like him. I like Jordan Rhodes. If I'm honest, I like
if
Jordan
it comes to Forest, it will end up messing him up.
I know.
He won't score.
Yeah. That is bang on, to be fair. Lads, before we do go, right, this is another talking point, and I'm not going to lie, I wanted Derby County relegated, and I still do. And you know, as everyone's been hearing in the stories, like they could be relegated. I'm not talking to you, Des. Like, Des, do you want Derby down with what's happening?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, you know, it sounds though that the Football League, now the season's over, it sounds like they're gunning for them, doesn't it, with what's coming out?
Good.
Well, yeah, because at the end of the day, rules are rules, aren't they? And if it happened to Wednesday, so why shouldn't it happen to Derby? I did think it was kind of interesting that Wickham have decided they're going to sue the Football League, or
I've seen that.
Because they crept up into that position just under the line.
Yeah.
But they spent a lot of money maintaining that sort of. The reason I want them relegated, they spent a lot of money maintaining that superiority over Forest, because that's all it did for them, wasn't it? That was better than us for about 4 or 5 years, and they never went up. You know, and they kept investing in the squad and never went anywhere. You know, so it now, having done that, you know, let's see them pay the price. We suffered under FFP by embargo.
Under powers.
For years, so to come out of it, and it was rubbish, was it? It's part of the problem now, you know, but it's rubbish. But we've had to enjoy it. We had to get back within the rules, so why shouldn't they have to deal with it?
What do you think, Stephen? I spoke to Stephen on Saturday about it. Like, after what's happening, do you want them down? Yes or no?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I want them down now. If, like Des said, if they've been breaking rules, then they should suffer like everyone else. What gives Mel Morris the right to, you know, always sticking it back in our faces? Like, I always see that picture of him with like the weighing scales with like us, Leeds and Middlesbrough and stuff like that. Yeah, I know, it's a mockery. You know, if they've cheated the system, then they should be sent up. What I would say, like I sent you that link, Ben, we talked about before the stream. It sounds like the 3 teams, especially Rotherham and Wickham, they know something behind the scenes, because the Rotherham manager, I don't know if you've seen it, lads, he was quite upset that Derby stayed up when he heard the news that Wednesday went down. And like Des just said, Wickham now are trying to sue the EFL. So they clearly know something Derby have done naughty, and that's why they're looking more into it. So just watch this space, maybe.
The last one, do you want Derby relegated or just points?
They won't get relegated. No, I can't see it happening. There'll be a massive legal cost if that happens. I think they'll get deducted points next season because they have broke rules. It's been I don't think
minus 15. I heard.
Yeah, it won't. It won't.
I think it'll be 9. I think it'll be 9 points.
I can't see in the next week or so the EFL turning around and going, okay, Wickham, you stay up, Derby, you're going down, because they'll just bombard them with appeals and stuff. And you know what happens with appeals? Appeals take time, and they can't give you a proper decision until the appeal. So, personally, yes, it would have been. But this is what I don't get. And I was talking to a Derby fan who's a friend of mine who's a Derby fan. And I says to him, you see all the celebrating and that. And he tried to, and he said to me, and he sent me a message through, and he says, oh yeah, when you survived in 2017. I went, hold on a minute. We went on a 6-game unbeaten run. I says, we had to win on the last game of the season. We won 3-0 to stay up. I says, you didn't win in 12 games.
15.
15. Was it 15? All right, you didn't win in 15 games. And he come back to me and he went, fair enough, that's true. And I says, and the only reason you stayed up was because Cardiff got a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, and to look at the players, and he even said to me it was a bit disgraceful that the players are coming out, oh, yeah. But he said to me, and I didn't know this, the whole game, in their car park, the Derby fans were there in the car park shouting. Do you know what I mean? So they did it for morale that way. But like you say, they broke the rules. Simple as.
Do you think, just say there, just one quickly, do you think, I totally agree with what Dylan said, they won't kick them out now, it's too late. Do you think that's why Wickham might be turning the screw on the EFL, because the EFL have probably waited knowing full well they can't relegate them once they've survived. So that's why Wickham might be kicking off now, because they're not chuck them out as much as we want them to go down. They're not going to, because there's too much. So I think that might be the reason. But like Steve said, there's lots coming out, isn't there, that they've lied about transfer fees and stuff, which is really bad stuff.
I want them down. I don't give a flying runs. I want them down.
They ain't going down.
They're not going down. But yeah,
next
boys.
Season they will.
But boys, Des, Stephen, and Dylan, it's been a pleasure for coming to channel. But like I said, the day before the season starts, I want you three on, and our opinion might completely change on what Hughton might do. So I would love to get you three on, and predict what are you happy with Hughton's if he's still in the job. He might not be in the job.
At that point, Ben, we'll all be saying we're going to win the league, even me.
Me too. I think me too.
Can I just say quickly,
we might be starting the season with Dwight Gale and Nasamba Longa, Grabban and Taylor all up front.
Yeah,
could happen.
And can I just say the highlight of the season for me as well was the final whistle on Saturday. The season was over. Against Preston. That's the highlight for me.
I've got a highlight.
Do you know what my highlight was?
What's your highlight?
Ben's interview with Kevin Campbell.
Yeah, you're right, people in the comments. What's
Alan Rogers?
The one with Kevin Campbell, they just never stopped laughing. I didn't hear a word they said. And during COVID, people needed to laugh, and they were just so enthusiastic about nothing.
Andy Johnson one was for me.
Oh, I still haven't seen the Andy Johnson one yet.
Oh, you've got to watch that. It is literally.
I saw him on Under the Cosh, and that was brilliant.
Well, right. If you've seen him on that, yeah, I would probably add loads more swear words in it.
Add 10 pints.
Yeah, 10 pints, and Ben just literally stitches the whole way through.
That's the most thing. I've never laughed so much. My chest was hurting me. This is before I started my interview. Well, I'm not going to swear. He was, yeah. But if no one's seen it, go and check the Andy Johnson interview. It was one of the funniest interviews I've ever done. But
it was the funniest you've done.
It's the funniest one I've ever done. But
it was the funniest.
Yeah.
If you want to feel good, watch the Kevin Campbell one.
Oh, you know what? This is the thing, but I will have him on. I thought to them I will have him on my channel, but this time it's going to be completely different. But I'll put some on my social medias.
Please, Ben, as well. Try your best to get Psycho on there. Interview. You got to interview Psycho, the greatest ever.
You'll never get him.
Oh,
David Johnson. I told you this. Keep telling you this.
yeah, DJ. Get DJ on.
I saw him the other day going into the barbers, and I pulled up next to him, and I went into the shop next to it. And I should have gone.
You tell him then. You tell him. I've told him so many times. I've told him so many times. I speak to him. I see him all the time.
Well, you want to say? Do you know what?
Yeah.
Do a poll. Do a poll.
What about Marlon Harewood?
You know what? I'm seeing him. Tomorrow? There's something I'm doing tomorrow. So watch out. There's a vlog I'm doing. There's a charity event. So I'll put it on a vlog tomorrow. So I will see Marlon soon. But people, as I said, it's been a pleasure, Stephen, Des, and Dylan, for coming on the channel. I will stay on for a little bit, but except you three, come on my channel before the season starts. Our mindset might be completely different, but it's been a pleasure for you three coming on my channel.
Cheers, Ben.
All right. Cheers for that,
Ben.
man.
Lads.
Cheers,
Cheers,
lads.
Later. Bye.
See you later. Right, it's been a pleasure, everyone, for taking your time to watch my channel. Thank everyone for watching my watch-alongs, my streams, my previews, my reviews, my interviews, for everything that I've done this season. But yeah, it's been fantastic as well. But like I said, it's been a pleasure for doing all this as well. Yeah, it's been great. Like I said, it's done me for like, I know every football fan has suffered with not going to games, but like I said, coming on YouTube. Like I said, I'm not a confident guy, but slowly I've encouraged myself to interact with you lot, because like I said, you're the people that I'm going on, and when you get people like Dylan, Des, Stephen, and like I'm going to mention Craig as well, Craig, Martin, Malcolm at the start of the season, and everyone else like Lennon as well. It's been a pleasure for everyone for coming on my channel. But like I said, people, my vlogs will be back next season. I hope. But like tomorrow, watch out for the. I'm doing a special vlog tomorrow. It's regarding a charity event, so please watch out for that. Like I said, people, if you have enjoyed my content, please do hit the like button. It does appreciate more. If you are new to this channel, please do hit the subscribe button. And as well, I forgot to mention, like Des, he's got a channel as well called Do Daily. I think he's gone past 100 subscribers. So go on, just please. I will put Des's link in below. So his content is completely different to what I do. So please go on, check with Des. It's called Do Daily. But like I said, it's been actually a pleasure, people, for everyone to watch my channel. Fit one people in, and like I said, it's a pleasure for everyone. But like I said, people, like I said, I'm going to go. Thank you very much again. I'm going to keep repeating. Thank you very much again for watching my content, and it's been a pleasure. And hopefully next season, Forest can do something. I will be doing my transfer gossip as well. And there's quite a lot. I said there's quite a lot I'm doing. But people, hopefully Forest can do something. Can we improve next season? Only time will tell. Thank you for watching, people. Up the Forest.